I'm not a doctor.
We are not
Much
doctors.
to my parents' disappointment. Anyway, speaking of my parents' disappointment, we are now here on something else eternal. The Empire, Ile, where in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we do in fact have a red Terran player. He's committing to this light. He's making the change. He ain't gonna be Azure no more. He's gonna be Azure, but red. He is representing Legacy Esports all the way from the land of Brisbane. We have the man with harpoon himself. It is Batty Azure. Ahai.
There was an opportunity for a Crimson joke there, by the way. I thought you were gonna go for it.
He's not Azure anymore, he's Crimson. There you go.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Eternal Empire LE, we have the Indian Zerg player representing Downfall Gaming. It is Demi.
Yo, Light. We were talking a little bit that Crimson has been a bit inactive. I think now we know why.
Yeah?
Azure has just assimilated him.
Azure ate him. You weren't expecting that, were you?
Two kinds of people. Those that say assimilate, and those that say ate.
Oh, God. Yep. That's why he was busy eating before this, and
Oh.
we'll see how it goes for Azure. We were talking about this before. Like Azure, he's warmed up. You know, he already had a TVZ earlier today against Oreo. And we'll see if he uses some of that here against Demi. Like, you know, we're gonna see Mech, we're gonna see Bio.
Well, for now, we're gonna see a very annoying bunker placement, bunker cancel.
Yeah.
A little bit surprised that it's, I'm a little bit surprised that it's thrown onto the base location itself. Typically, you do see the bunker behind the mineral line, or just a little bit off.
Yeah,
because the goal isn't necessarily to block that third base, but just to keep the pressure on your opponent.
Yeah. This one is to deny the third base, as if you recall, Tasia did popularize this a little bit. It makes it so the third base, it takes a lot longer, and you can always salvage it after once it gets low on health. So it isn't as it's a little bit more versatile compared to an NG block.
And to be honest, if you like that GSL day that Tasia played, I slept in. So I don't actually remember Tasia popularizing that. I'll watch the VOD.
It was months ago now. It was in season 1 of GSL. God damn it. But yeah. So Azure is just playing the straight up, delaying the third base for Demi. And Demi, I mean, we've talked about this before. It looks like he's using this opportunity to just go 2 base. He's getting a very fast lair.
Well, he does decide to go for the third base eventually, but yeah, the question is he gonna saturate that base?
Yeah, I mean, we saw Oreo do this. Like, Oreo, he also went for a fast lair, opting to go straight into Mutalisk, if you recall, straight into Spire. We could see something similar here for Demi. We'll see.
Yeah, it is gonna be the question. A couple more drones being thrown out, but that's mostly for the gases.
Yeah, definitely. And Demi, he looks like he will eventually clean this up. Ooh, salvage a little bit too late.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. It would be nice to get the 35 minerals back in, but that's not necessarily, that's not the end of the world for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And meanwhile, Demi, he did go in with that Overlord. He did get a nice scout off, seeing the production, so he's aware of what's happening. And there it is, Spire thrown down.
What else were you really expecting?
Yeah. So this is very similar to what, or identical to what Oreo did against Azure, where he's kind of rushing for that Spire, hoping to like save as much gas as he can. But oh god, the Liberator and the Hellions are trying to go in as well.
Already manages to get a queen as well as drone, and now does confirm that Demi went for this more forward location, and I'm a little bit worried for Demi right now. Like, this is a very it's a very aggressive location to put down your third base, but it also is very exposed. And Azure, this is exactly what he wanted.
Exactly. Like, I was about to say the same thing, where especially Liberator Harass is very annoying here. He can just go from one base straight into the other, and it's a little bit of a difficult like angle to engage for Demi. But I mean, luckily he already had a Spire on the way, so I imagine he's going to be able to deal with that Liberator eventually. But it's denying so much mining time.
Really is. Spore Crawler should be able to clean that up, but I'm not sure if there's enough range, or enough vision, I should say.
Range.
Yeah, it's not in range. But there is vision, thanks to this Overlord. And the Liberator does get cleaned out, but it does get another Queen. And the Hellions were trying to go for another round, and this is, I guess, what separates me from Azure. If it were me, I'd have jumped on those drones and probably lost the Hellions, but Azure did identify that that would have been too much of a loss.
Yeah, and Azure so far, nicely done. He does keep the majority of his Hellions alive. Behind this, he's expanding, he's taking his third base, working on his upgrades as he's playing Bio this game, which I mean I do really approve of, especially against what Demi's going for. Like Demi, he saved the majority of his gas for these Mutalisks that are popping out, only just now working on his bathing speed and bathings themselves.
And I feel that that's going to be a bit of a problem here for Demi, as we already see Azure right up onto Demi's face in the third base location. Again, very exposed space.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot harder to defend this, and it...
Yeah,
I
and
feel like... Yeah?
God.
No, I was going to say, I feel like Demi might just have to sack this base. But yeah, look at this. The Ling Bane has been able to chase these Marines away, and with that, the Mutalisks do get in right on top of these tanks. Unfortunately, the Banelings do not quite get to connect, but they do connect towards the end, and Demi has held this.
Yeah, that was really nicely done. Really nice Mutalisk control. He was able to circle around the army and able to jump on those tanks that were a little bit exposed as the Bio were pushed pretty far away from them. So, yeah, Demi was able to hold on, and yeah, it was looking pretty scary. Like, the hatchery got pretty low, but Demi was just had enough.
That he did, and now Azure, he's going to have to switch things up a little bit. He can try to go for another round, just trying to put on more and more pressure, but yeah, I just don't think he has I don't think he really has the tempo to do so.
Yeah, definitely. Like, just now throwing down more production buildings to start working his way up in terms of his army supply, as again, it does feel like it's a little bit lacking at the moment. And I'm a little bit concerned now for Azure, because now that Demi has secured that third base, like, now that's like a launching platform, you know?
Yeah, it's like a launching platform. It's also a base that generally, as the game goes on, you try not to take, but because he already has it, he can take the bases to the north, which are a lot safer.
Yeah, like this third base, like Snoot has talked about this before in the past, where because it's so aggressive, because it's so close, like creep spread is going to be spreading so much faster towards the Terran player, and it's going to allow Demi to apply so much more pressure when we get into the mid game. Like, again, the creep, it's already at like the potential fourth base location of Azure.
Indeed it is. But this is also why Azure has realized this and is going to be trying to limit that as much as possible. The Mutas are coming back in, and there's only one turret in his natural base light.
Yeah, the turret gets focused down. The Mutalisks, they get another handful of SCVs, then they back off. At the same time, though, there is this drop to the north for Azure.
Yeah, and once again, Azure just trying to pick apart his Zerg opponent. And he should be doing a pretty good job of this. The Lings are still a little whiles away, and if Azure can target this down, he should be able to get it and hot pick up away. We'll have to worry about the Mutalisks, but that is a different story, and he does actually get that base. The freshest base right now of Demi.
Yeah, and as this is happening, 2-2 just finishes up for Azure, so he will have that to try and target down more units. And Ooh,
Even
nice
able to
pick up
supply
there,
kept
but-
Demi.
Yeah, Demi, he supply blocked, he lost the base, and now here
here's round
comes the main
two.
army.
Exactly, the main army is in position right now, but Demi has seen this, and I feel like that was just a little bit 1 second too late here from Azure. As Demi now has he's in position to deal with this, but once again, these are the splits that we've come to know and love from Azure. But yeah, Demi just has way too much here.
Yeah, and Azure lost a lot of medevacs there as well. Like, the Mutalisk count is just so large, and...
Yeah, after a while, Azure, he really knew that he couldn't sustain not only his pushes, but his economy either.
Yeah, and Demi, he does take game number one. Like, Azure, like, he was dealing some really good harassing damage with his drops. But again, like, I don't know if you noticed, but when Azure pushed out with his main army, I was a little bit tentative when I said main army, because like it was very bare bones. It wasn't a lot protecting his tanks. It felt like the bio just wasn't there.
I think it would have been a different story if that medevac, if just one medevac was able to get out of there with the Marines. And obviously that's a bit of a tough ask, right? Because you'd have to think that Demi would have been vigilant enough to chase it down, right? Even if Azure split up his medevacs, one to the main, one into the main base. Demi should have had enough there, but yeah, I think that would have been a bit of a different story, because Azure did trade up pretty evenly there. You know, split to the best of his ability. So I think it really does, it really did in the end come down to just a little bit of units. A little bit more for Demi really making a difference.
And I love how Seether and NXZ are in the chat, and NXZ was like, can the champ really be considered the champ considering that I'm not there?
Tis a fair point.
I mean, you're the one that didn't sign up. Just
I did sign up. It's just, you know.
You're the one that didn't check in. I mean,
We are on Everdream now. L.E. Ideally Edle. We're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. We have the man himself. He wields the harpoon and the gun. He is coming out all the way from the land of Melbourne. Gonna be representing Legacy Esports here. Will he force his opponent to be more aggressive once again, or is he gonna be more patient? Brisbane! Did I say Melbourne? He's from Brisbane. We have Azure. Ahai.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Everdream LE, we have the Indian Zerg player representing Downfall Gaming. It is Demi. Going for a pool first.
Yeah, an Everdream. What more could I have really expected here? Now, Demi, he has a bit of a reputation. He has been known to be pretty aggressive with his pool first, but for now, it seems like he's playing it more defensively. As Azure, he has a bit of a he's been known to do a couple of cheeky proxies on maps like Everdream.
So I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that he's gonna throw down a Roach Warren. We'll see what he ends up doing, what he ends up using his gas for. As Azure, he's going for this worker count, and as we see, Demi, he didn't want to send his lings across the map. He's trying to deny the scout instead.
Alrighty then, but the scout does eventually go down. We'll see that there's an extractor there, and yeah, look at this, Demi trying to go around, seeing if there's anything he missed, but
yeah.
Okay, I'm not really sure what. Yeah, I'm not really sure what Demi's anticipating right now.
Yeah, I think he's just afraid of a proxy right now. Like, he's sending his link just to scout, just to make sure nothing crazy is happening. And again, he didn't immediately send his lings across the map to potentially deny or delay the CC for Azure. So yeah, Azure even sending his Reaper across the map.
Yeah, that's actually get the full-on scout here. Does see there's only one gas at the moment. So what should this signal to Azure, Light, and should this signal to me, because I need some advice there.
Well, Azure already nicely done. He actually picked off a drone, and this is important. He was also able to scout the third base so close there. The Reaper almost got sniped. But yeah, he just scouts everything there is to see. Demi, he's just playing normal, straight up. Like, there's nothing crazy. There's no extra gases. There's no fast lair. There's a third base. So, like, you know, in the beginning, you were correct in saying that Demi, he was just playing it incredibly safe with his opening.
I just took a shot in the dark.
Yeah, it was. You got it. You hit the mark. And yeah, this is interesting because I don't know if like maybe Demi has history with Azure on this map, but yeah, he was very afraid of.
Well, I'm not sure if Demi specifically has history with Azure, but Azure definitely has history on this map.
Yeah, and Demi even going for Overlord speed, like this is something that he's neglected in the past, so yeah, he really wants to make sure he's on top of what Azure's doing.
But I think Azure might just have too much firepower here. The Overlord barely seeing that Star Power coming out, and no idea about this fusion core.
Yeah, and that's so important right now that Demi was unable to see that. He already has a decent queen count, so you know queens are ideal against BCs, but he's just unaware that is coming his way.
What if it's lip range though?
Look, it's not hot, okay? Not all Terrans are the same, Yaku. Azure is not hot. So yeah, Demi, he's just playing this normally, you know, throwing down spores in anticipation of Banshees, I imagine.
Yeah. Which is definitely fair, and they can help a little bit against these BCs. Which again, you know, Azure, despite not knowing, or Demi rather, despite not knowing what Azure is throwing at him, he is getting prepared either way.
Yeah, and Azure, pretty interesting. He's going for BCs, and he's got an armory on the way as well.
Okay, so this could play out a number of different ways here. Azure is dedicated to his Hellions right now. He's continuing to pump that out. I think it's just going to be a BC Hellion push.
Yeah, BC Hellbat even
Hellbat,
as the armory. Yeah, it's about to finish up in a couple of seconds, and I'm sure the BC is going to meet up here as all of these will be turning into Hellbats, and only Queens here. There are a couple of Banelings morphing in though.
And Banelings are typically what you want. Queens not necessarily. Pretty good connections here on top of these Hellbats, and there you go. They do manage to get wiped out. These Hellbats, you know, they were looking to really bruise these Queens, but not really able to do much about that. And because Azure teleported his BC across the map, he does not have an easy exit.
He does not, but thankfully he does use the terrain of the map to his advantage. Does go off a cliff, and meanwhile there's a big Ling run by. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, there's one Ling that stuck into the natural base.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Demi did retreat with the rest of his Lings, and yeah, Demi, he does hold pretty nicely. Like again, those Baneling connections on those Hellbats were ideal. Demi was able to hold on. But on the other side of things, of course, Azure, he was able to save his BC, so he does keep it alive. We'll be able to use it later on, and yeah, he's actually making a couple more BCs.
Interesting. All right, so I guess maybe he saw that he had the what's it called? He had the army already, so he may as well commit to a BC mech style. Yeah,
and I've seen a couple of players go for this. I can't say I've ever seen it work, but yeah, I've seen Terran players go for this BC mech style. Yeah, definitely. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it, right?
Yeah.
It's just so rare that I haven't seen it too often here on this channel.
It is definitely fair to say.
From
it does take a little bit of a
yeah,
it is a little bit of a niche-ish style. You know, it's one of those niches where it's popular, but you're still gonna run into more people who say they don't do it rather than people who do it.
Yeah. The last person who I recall doing it was Pure Legacy in the DreamHack qualifiers. He did it against Jon Snow. didn't quite work out for him. But yeah, so it's curious to see it once again here, coming out from Azure, and just have to be careful. Yamato isn't quite done. It's quite a long ways away, actually.
Yeah, it is. But he does have the teleporters available to him, so he can afford to just sort of send these BCs in and see what damage he can get done. We're gonna see transfuse. They're transfusing the queen, and that's a little bit rough for Demi.
Yeah, 2 queens already gone down. Ooh, the banelings are being targeted as well, and again another queen is caught alone, and these BCs are dealing decent damage.
That they are.
Yeah, 2 more queens go down. These 2 are kind of exposed as well.
If nothing else, it forces some transfuses out of these queens.
Yeah, you would hope so, but like he's getting queen kills anyway. Oh, the spore lifted up as well.
Yeah, so not quite able to deal with the anti-air there. Did that BC go down?
It teleported away.
Teleported away, and the other one TP's out as well. Nicely done by our red Terran player, already preparing for the counterattack.
Yeah, and we're going now. There are 3 BCs, and BCs in high enough number like this, when there are mutas in low enough number like this, like BCs, you know, they can do quite well against the Mulus of Demi. Not quite at that high count that he's aiming for, and yeah, like he's trying to shark in, but there are already missile turrets in place. A lot of missile turrets actually, but ooh, the fusion core.
Yeah, once this goes down, how do you get BC mech without a fusion core light?
How do you get lib range without a fusion core?
What? I didn't even consider that.
That was a huge loss there for Azure. Like, that is the end of the potential lib range switch.
Yeah, but one thing that's interesting to me right now, like, Demi's going for 3 spires. Okay, 2 spires, okay. Cancels one of them.
Yeah, there we go. He's getting his 2nd spire to, I guess, for upgrades.
Yeah. It also helps that if he decides to go for a greater spire, right, he can still have 1 that can upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
But will he even get to that point? Azure is starting to push across the map. He's got a decent force of Hellions and BCs, and this is not his main army, but it is looking really beefy.
Oh yeah, definitely, and a bunch of queens get Yamato down. There are a decent amount of Mulus though, so they are going to force a couple of these BCs to TP away, but oh god, they're just so beefy, like more queens fall.
They're just so beastly.
One
of them does go down. And again, BCs, they are a unit that you do want to try to scale with. So losing even just 1, you know, it's an expensive unit. Costs quite a little bit, especially since there's no fusion core up.
Yeah, definitely, as you know, there is no fusion core being remade either. Instead, Azure, he is committing to Thors as his go-to anti-air, which is a lot more standard. You know, against Oreo, he relied a lot more on Vikings and Liberators and Cyclones. So yeah, playing a little bit more standard against Demi.
That he is. And I mean, you can't really magic box as much as you could in the past. So yeah, these Thors are going to be a very reliable source of damage, and the Widow Mines do manage to get a connection there. That is really going to be, I don't want to say it's a key, but that's going to help out a lot, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely, and honestly, we're getting to the point where I'm a little bit concerned for Demi, because Azure, I mean, yeah, he's maxed out.
He is maxed out, and he's starting to march his way across the map, and unlike his game versus Oreo, this is not a slow siege army. This is a, maybe not mobile force, but a very steady force. It can continue to keep on walking across the map.
Yeah, you can see the differences here, as there are minimal tanks with this army, and instead there are a lot of Hellbats. Oh god, oh god.
Our Venus are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
but
and
so
the massive
CC.
run by is going to crash into, oh god, the 3rd base of the wall goes down. But on the other side, Azure, he's just committing to the push.
As he is, we are in the base trade situation right now, Light. And who is going to make it out of this first?
Yeah, I mean, Demi, he's using a lot of his Ling Bane to try and deal with the natural in the main base, and there is a pretty large Mutalisk Cloud, but I think in a head-on engagement, I want to favor Azure.
That's because Azure is absolutely favored right now in a head-on engagement, has a better army, has a higher army supply, which is why Demi, he's just trying to clean out these bases. He is just trying to win the indirect fight. But I feel like Azure is not letting that happen.
Yeah, I think the problem is that we may just never see a head-on engagement. Like Azure, I don't think he has any SCVs out on the map. Like, and there's no recall available. He's not a Protoss player, so Demi, like, maybe his best chance is just try and kill all the buildings. Oh, but he teleports home.
It's definitely what he's trying to do, try to get a couple of ninja bases himself as well. But in the end, he realized not quite enough. Azure could be tying up that series. Sideways 1-1.
Yeah, he ties it up, and with this mech style, he's able to just push on through, and Demi, he just didn't really have an answer to it. He was just, you know, he just had Ling Bane Muta. He didn't have Hive, he didn't have Infestors, didn't have Vipers either, so he could never really fight, you know, directly. So it was definitely the right call to go for that base trade, but in the end there was just too much at home. And I was talking about, like, Azure, he doesn't have recall, but you know, his BCs, they could teleport.
His BCs have recall, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a rough game for Demi. I do think that Azure got into his head a little bit. As you can see, Demi really trying to prepare against some kind of proxy cheese, or cheese of any kind, and yeah, just for the longest time he played so conservatively, not sure of when Azure would make his way across the map until it was too late.
Yeah, like Demi, he was trying to go for a couple of run-bys, he was trying to harass with his Mutalisk, but like Azure, like defensively, he was very on point. And again, like his BCs dealt a lot of damage.
That they did.
And here we go, splitting in on game number 3.
Yeah. Speaking of a lot of damage, here we are now on the Pillars of Gold, LE, which holds up the Golden Wall, LE, which keeps the Eternal Empire, LE, where the LE submarines are kept. In the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spotting in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, we have a red Terran coming out all the way from Brisbane, Australia. He is the man with Harpoon himself, the man with the plan, representing Legacy Esports. We have Azure. Ahai.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Pillars of Gold LE, we have the Indian Zerg player representing Downfall Gaming. It is Demi. Also, hey, shout out to Chase. Chase, mate, didn't you say you were gonna sign up today? It's always cool to see him in the chat. He's
I don't
been
know
tuning
if you
in.
said it.
He's been tuning in to these tournaments. Was even here yesterday and the day before. It's definitely cool to see. Yeah, and fortunately, another player who didn't sign up, but it's fine. It's all good. We're here. We're in the finals. I feel like this is the finals we really did once, and it's cool to see Azure, you know, take it to Demi. You know, we're tied up in series, right? It isn't one-sided either way, and yeah. Again, Azure showing that, you know, he can play mech and make it work.
That's, yeah, really proven it, and not just mech, but different styles of mech. I don't know if you noticed, but he had maybe 2 tanks towards the end of last game. No Cyclones. Just going straight on for this sort of Hellbat Thor BC build, or unit composition, which I kind of want to see more of. I don't know how effective it is outside of, I don't know how, you know, I feel like it is a bit situational. I don't know how effective it'll be overall, but I'd like to see more of it.
Yeah, it's just really cool to see him like in this tournament play two different mech styles, like one against Oreo, one against Demi.
We get two
both, you know.
Slings.
Ooh.
Slings that keeps the Reaper alive.
Yeah, nicely done there by Azure. And yeah, he does go as well to check the third base, sees it not quite taken yet. It's a little bit concerning.
Yeah, pretty soon he's, once his Reaper heals back up, he's gonna be going into the main base, just trying to see what is my good pal Varun up to.
Yes, so, okay, there we go. Okay, we have a third base. It's a little bit delayed, but it is taken nonetheless.
Yeah, no, Azure gonna be coming in, seeing it's only one gas. What is going on?
Just confirming, he actually hasn't seen the third base yet. He went up into the main. Yeah.
So right now he's just he's got to be at least considering it.
Yeah. Like again, Azure, he's a little bit in the dark, but we'll see how he responds. We're even denying that Overlord Scout as well, going for a Viking first.
Well, if there's one thing that's been consistent throughout Azure today, I feel like that Viking first is it.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, for whatever reason, like, it's not something we see from every Terran player. Some go for it, others don't. We do see players who go 1-1-1, want to try and be as greedy as possible and then get out, like, at those Banshees or those BCs. But, yeah, Azure, he does go for that Viking.
But I'm going to be following that up immediately with a medevac, no add-on on top of that barracks. And I'm waiting for that army to get thrown down, Light. I feel like we're gonna have a little bit of a repeat of what we saw in that Earth series for Zorio. No proxied factory this time, though.
Yep, no proxy, but we do have that army on the way. Ooh, even a fusion core as well. Okay, interesting.
This is the time, Light. Why would you go fusion core, right? And not go and not go BC first. Right? You know I'm right.
This is when we find out Azure was listening in. He's like, you know what? Yaku, he's onto something. He's onto.
No, you know what the funny thing is? I think the last time Dally and I casted this, Dally actually explained why lib range is a bad idea.
I mean,
at least this early on.
It doesn't need to be said.
There's a reason why. Like, there's a reason why it's a late game move.
Yep, and we'll see as the Hellbats are being morphed here at the third base location of Demi. There are a decent amount of queens. I don't think there are no Bailings ready for this, though. Just queens for defense.
Indeed they are, and we really can start to see how effective Hellbats are compared to Hellions when they're starting to fight these queens. Did these Marines follow that Overlord all the way from the other side of the map?
I think they did.
Somebody look at the replay. It's
They went on a journey. Those two Marines did get here, but in the end, Demi had enough to defend. He was able to hold against the Hellions in his main base, which we're here in this drop, and he was able to hold at his third as well, going for that counterattack. Oh,
the wall's on the wall, but the Hellions are hot.
Yes.
So Demi not going to be risking too much there. Knows that if he ever needs a scout, he can send another Overlord down. And yeah, once again, Azure kind of alternating between mech and bio in this series.
Yeah, showing that that 1-1-1 opener is pretty versatile. You can go mech off of it, you can go bio, and here we go. The BC has teleported across the map. Gonna at least get one of these Overlords. And again, there's a decent queen count, but there are no spores. Oh, no, never mind.
A couple of spores. Just like one in the third base, but yeah, it's in the third base and pretty far away from where the queens are. Takes them quite a bit of time to get into position. And the thing I'm really looking out for right now, like, that BC is so close to scouting that spire, but still has not.
It has not, and these Hellbats, they're here, you know, they're in a pretty decent position, so even if they do get cleaned up, they will trade as efficiently as they can. Oh, no, never mind, they move out.
Yeah, and the thing to keep in mind is that the Bailings are almost done here. Immediately get surrounded, these Hellbats do. And they do clean out a lot of the Lings, but the Banelings will be able to hold this for Demi.
Yeah, and Demi, like, he's being pulled apart a little bit. You know, the Queens, they've got a long way to walk, to trek across to deal with this BC. You know, does transfuse, does lose a couple of these Queens in the end. Oh. Nice transfuse.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty nice teleport as well back in the main base. Will clear out this Overseer, but not before it gets a nice little look at all of the infrastructure. Actually, the Overseer's not going down. DC's chasing it. There it goes.
Demi does confirm. Yeah, Demi does confirm that his opponent is going for Bio instead of Mech, like the previous game. And yeah, Azure only opting to get that one BC.
I like it. This means that he's going to be using his fusion core for something else, doesn't it? Like, although by this point, it's the appropriate time to get lib range, so yeah, it's not the same.
This is not the appropriate time for lib range. I'd be surprised if we see this game. Maybe if we get to late game against Ultralists, maybe. It's
well, I mean,
possible.
It's appropriate time if this was TVT.
Yeah, and so far both players are just kind of macroing up. Demi, you know, with decent creep spread, now moving, starting to spread that through to the center of the map. You know, he's well droned up on 4 bases as well, but here we go, there is this drop in the main base.
There's a drop in the main base, and Azure will be able to confirm the Mutalisks. And yeah, this is not Marine. These are not Marines that are getting out of this. So Azure, he's just looking to get as much damage as possible. And does eventually get the Sword, does eventually get a couple of units. I think the key factor right now is the fact that that Azure sees the Mutalisks.
Yeah, definitely, and immediately we see him switch into Widow Mines as well to try and deal with that. You know, he already has Bio, which can also be work decently well against Mutalisks. There we go. We have missile turrets as well, and yeah, we're going to be heading into a more classic Bio versus Lingbane Muto.
Yep, what a lot of people do like to see. What I definitely enjoy watching. It's going to be a lot of back and forth coming in the upcoming moments of this game. The Widow Mines slide, they are in position, and they do manage to connect! Demi stayed for just 1 second too long. And look at this flank with the Marines! These Mutalisks are not having a good time whatsoever.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And just like that, 4 Mutalisks went down. They're still pretty low as well, so if they end up in a big fight, it could go south for Demi, so he does have to be a bit careful, does have to wait for those Mutalisks to regenerate.
Which, to be fair, Mutalisks do regenerate fairly quickly.
Yeah. Oh god, that was... That could have been awful for Demi.
It definitely could have. And it's still not too good. You kind of see Demi positioning himself, trying to go for a push, and yeah, just because of how weakened the Mutalisks were, he had to pull back.
Yeah, really nice positioning there for Azure. He is also positioning a couple of Widow Mines at his 3rd base as well. Meanwhile, we do have Demi, you know, getting his infestation pit. He's going to be working up to Hive eventually, but Demi, he's already maxed out. He's going to be looking to try and deal some damage. And
that's what these Banelings are looking to get.
Yeah.
But, I'm liking these Widow Mines and this bunker as well. It does help out a lot. Look at that. Immediately takes out the Banelings, but unfortunately does take out the Widow Mines on top of that. And now we're kind of just seeing a bit of a battle for map control coming up from both of our players. They've both split up their armies about as well as they possibly can. So who's gonna end up getting the advantage is gonna be the question. These Widow Mines, ooh, they actually get a lot of friendly fire there. They were chasing that one leading Zergling.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do have the Mutalisks here in the main base trying to find some more damage. Meanwhile, it does seem like the BC is also once again at that 3rd base, trying to deal some more damage there, maybe pick up a queen or 2.
So much is happening in this game, it's kind of hard to keep up.
Yeah, the Mutalisks are back into the main base, trying to deal the Lings even, but they do get cleaned up by the Widow Mines, and now we're getting to the point where I think Azure, he's finally starting to establish himself. I was a little bit worried because it looked like he just really had Marines and nothing much, but you know, now he has a decent Widow Mine count to help support that.
But are the Widow Mines going to help out against these Ultralisks? Azure is starting to move across the map, so best case scenario for Azure, he does not get those ultralisks. You know, those ultralisks won't come into play. But it is very... It's a little bit desperate right now from Azure. He has to do damage. Look at him work a different site. Demi is up 2 bases and 30 workers right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, if Azure basically needs to bring Demi down to his own level, that's gonna be a tough ask. The Mutalisks are in the 3rd base, and they're gonna bring Azure even lower there. But I'm liking this pickup from Azure. Basically all of the banelings have been taken care of.
Yeah, but the majority of Azure's army was also taken care of as well. There are a lot of medevacs, so they can try and keep this bio alive, but this is really
and still
all
Marines
Azure
versus
has.
Zerglings. Yeah, look at that. There is quite a number of Marines coming out from this, but as you said, this is all Azure has. And this has not dealt enough damage yet.
Yeah, I mean, if he's able to snipe this base, then maybe, but more banelings being morphed in. The Mutalisks have returned.
They have, and look at that hot pickup trying to go into the main base, and it will take the Mutalisks a little while to get into position. Oh, Jesus, actually Azure making the most that he can out of this drop.
Yeah, and he really has to, because this is his lifeline right now.
If he takes out the Ultra Cavern. If he takes out the Ultra Cavern.
Yeah, he will be able to snipe it, which is nice, but everything gets cleaned up.
GG. Demi now on match point.
Yeah, it's really important to note that as all that was happening, like the 3rd base for Azure went down and he was stuck on 2 base economy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that that game really does showcase why it does really showcase the sort of shortcomings of the style that Azure went for. You have to do that. You have to do damage. You have to be aggressive. And if you don't, then you're just gonna be playing catch up and not gonna be catching up.
Yeah, definitely, and a lot of that did come down to like Azure, who was being very aggressive with Hellbats early on, but they never really dealt any economic damage. Like his BCs, BC even singular, was able to like kill a queen or 2 here and there, but again, like the worker count for Demi was just perfectly fine throughout the course of the game, and because of that, like we saw him max out very quickly and apply that pressure, and Azure, he struggled to keep up.
Definitely did. I feel like if he played his more mech style, or the mech style that he played for Zorio, I feel like that would have been a completely different story. But again, that would have also prompted Demi to play differently. So who really knows? But speaking of which, we are now on Ice and Chrome LE. We're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of the map. We have our red Terran player, the player who assimilated Crimson. He is coming out all the way from the land of Brisbane, gonna be representing Legacy Esports right now. You know, his color is Crimson, but he is actually Azure. Hi.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ice and Chrome LE, we have the Indian Zerg player representing Downfall Gaming. It is Demi.
Alright, Ice and Chrome Light. I have a feeling that Azure is gonna be playing mech here, not just because he's been alternating his styles, not just because Ice and Chrome is a pretty good map for it, but I think Azure might have realized that, you know, the way that Demi wants to play the series out, and he's going to be looking to sort of counter that. He's going to be playing it a bit more patient, he's going to be a little bit more greedy, you know, he just wants to have enough defenses to get a healthy economy and then try to max out and try to bait Demi into inefficient trades.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. Like, Ice and Chrome does kind of tend to lean towards a more like macro-centric game, so yeah, maybe Azure will utilize that to go for, you know, more of a mech style. Like, again, like there's a longer rush distance, so you have more time to set up defensively and you know, turtle up, and get, you know, your 3rd base and eventually your 4th base up and running. We could see that, But yeah, we'll see what he has in store for us, as he is, as the game is still just getting underway.
Watch him immediately throw down. Watch him go 2-on-1.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. So would I, but for now, it's just gonna be a little bit of back and forth. Who's gonna scout whom?
Yeah, at the moment, the Reaper is just kind of sharking around. Does spot that the third base was already taken for Demi. No two-base shenanigans here.
Yeah, not gonna be too worried for a while. Just gonna be comfortable back at home, establishing his own macro.
Meanwhile, Azure going for standard 1-1-1 opener, whether it'll be for BCs, whether it'll be for Banshees. I mean, I imagine it'll be for BC. We'll see. I mean, as you said, like he is like known to go for that Viking first, right?
Yeah.
See that again.
Yeah, we're probably gonna be seeing the Viking and then a switch on to his tech lab. Just watch that production bar. See if we have a fusion core going out.
Yeah, as we have yet to see Azure go Banshees this series, so
he's done it in the past. Oh. Hyperflight Road. Oh, that was a misclick.
I was very surprised as well. I'm like, what even is that? I haven't seen what?
So it's not relib range, but I'll take it. Yeah, but for now he is actually going pretty hard onto his ground harass. He's not going for a Viking. He's going for Liberator and then Banshees?
I imagine that cloak, I mean, we'll see. I imagine the cloak was just for show to make it look as if he's going for Banshees when really he's going for a Liberator. We'll see if he commits. And if he goes for Banshee after this lib. Yeah, I love how we were both like shook when Hyperflight Murders was made. We were like, what?
He is going Ferrari mech right off the gate. But yeah, there's the Banshee coming out.
Okay, there we go.
So this is interesting. Stim is also being researched, so guess he's going bio then. But yeah, this is interesting. You don't often see Liberators and Banshees on top of that. And I thought maybe that Azure was going to go for a really strong positional Hellbat push, but, he's not committing to these Hellbats. Oh, actually, he's sending this factory back into the reactor. I don't know what's going on here, Light.
Yeah, I'm very perplexed as well, because he's also getting a third CC. So like he's being, he's getting his base set up, but he's also like kind of teching up as well and spending a lot of gas. And oh god, the Hellions has to be covered. He gets surrounded.
He does get surrounded, and again, there isn't an army right now, so they couldn't quite morph in. But they are trading very well against these Lings, I should say. Yeah, really good use of that ramp towards the end with the choke point. Meanwhile, I believe the Liberator, the Liberator's at the third base, and did manage to take out a couple of drones.
Yeah, he was able to take out 4 drones. Meanwhile, the Hellions did kind of take the attention for Demi. So the Hellions, they worked in that respect, right? They were able to allow the Liberator to deal that damage. And yeah, a lot of strange things are going on, because we see 2 factories on the way and 2 armories.
And he's coming to Stim?
Why is he getting Stim? Wait, is he gonna cancel? Or is he... Okay, so a lot happened, right? I don't know if you recall, but that initial Overlord for Demi survived an incredibly long time in the main base for Azure, and it spotted everything, right? It spotted... what's important is that it spotted the tech lab on the racks, like, researching. So he was aware of that. So he thinks that it's bio, right? Just like we thought. And he hasn't gone for a second scout, right? Has he?
Right, he hasn't gone for a second scout.
Yeah, so he has no idea about the double armory or all these factories.
I guess maybe it's a mistake then from Azure to not cancel that Stim.
Yeah, I think that.
Because he doesn't know, unless. Oh, level with me here, Light. Do you think Azure wants to play this so? Do you think he wants to go so ultra late game that he's getting Stim early on so that eventually he can go Mass Marine? Which, according to Pig, is the ideal late game Terran unit. Well, at least TBT. I'm not sure about TBC.
Honestly, I do think that he meant to cancel it. I can't imagine we're going to see it come into play. But yeah, I love that. I think I think I imagine the goal of it was to trick Demi.
Just you wait. We're gonna get to a situation where half of every base is gonna be mined out. Demi is, gonna be... Both players are gonna be relying on low-tech units. And who's it gonna favor, Light? It's gonna favor... Lings versus Marines. Who's it gonna favor, Light? It's gonna favor Marines.
It will.
This is Azure thinking 250 steps ahead.
What a big brain. What a big brain. Like, you know what? He kept that tech lab researching all the way just in case another scout came in.
Exactly.
Just to make sure.
He's committed. Although I suppose you could say that. Although I suppose you could say that if the Overlord went in, it could sing the factories in double army.
No. That's false. It's fake news. And surprisingly, he has a decent amount of banshees as well. Like, I would have liked to see where it is.
Yeah, exactly. It was a mistake earlier on, but honestly now, if he decided to research it, it would help him out so much. This is the much more orthodox Ferrari mech or McLaren composition with the Banshees, the Hellions, and the Cyclones.
Yeah, and we'll see how this plays out. Like, I love the way Azure's playing this. Like, it's such a big brain move, but I don't know if it's gonna work out. That's the thing, right? Because the Ferrari mech is revealed, like the Cyclones responded earlier, so now Demi is aware of what's coming. And Demi, like, he was already committed to this Lingbane Muta style. Again, Lingbane Muta isn't ideal against mech, so maybe this is already going in Azure's favor, and Demi's just committing to this and not switching, but we'll see.
Definitely is. It is, yeah, we're gonna have to see how stubborn Demi's gonna be here, and he has been known in the past to really stick with Mutiling Bane until he has to switch, right? He doesn't like switching unless he has no other choice.
He traps the army.
Yeah, the rocks were not taken out, and Demi a little bit apprehensive to go all the way in. He thought those rocks are cleared, but once he realized that they weren't, goes right in for the kill. And that's a lot of map control for Azure, just being taken right out of the map.
Yeah, just gets stripped away. And now Demi is in control. All those Hellions and Cyclones were taken out. And I mean, to be fair, Azure, again, like he wants to stay like turtled up at the moment. You know, he's trying to now establish his fourth base. He has a good amount of Thors, so the Mutalisk should be dealt with. Oh god, he's so careful.
These overseers tanking a couple of shots and not really spreading the splash damage. So yeah, that's a nice little trick that you can try to do when you're facing Thors. But it is tricky.
Yeah, definitely. And
I like this. I like this a lot. Demi identified where the army of Azure was and decided to go into the where the army wasn't.
Yeah, and a lot of SCVs are going down as well. Nice trades here for Demi. Meanwhile, the Mutalisks are also trying to deal damage, but there are Thors in position. Oh, but they get caught out.
Do get caught out by the Lings, but I feel like there are way too many Thors right now. If Demi overstays his welcome with these Mutalisks, they're just going to be taken out, and that kind of defeats the purpose, right? Of going in with your Zerglings first.
Yeah, and oh my god, 18 SCVs went down. I mean, the one thing going for Azure is that he kept all his bases alive, but
yeah, he can rebuild.
Oh my god. Yeah, he can definitely rebuild. He just needs to make sure that he's in position, especially for this Baneling run by.
And he should definitely be, 2 tanks already in position, and a bunch of Widow Mines to just really drive the point home.
Yeah,
and this is another vulnerable base.
Yeah, he's rotating around. There is a Widow Mine there, though.
There's a Widow Mine, and Demi sending his Banelings in first. And a lot of them being taken out. These Widow Mines, absolute MVP. Other tanks helped.
Yeah. Oh, is that Demi?
I feel like it is. Yep.
Demi, please. This isn't the first time this has happened today. Yeah, RIP VPN.
How many times does this have to happen? Yeah, that did also happen to Azure earlier on.
Yeah. Oreo against Azure, Demi as well. Like,
imagine if his other series is set drops. Then you'd know Azure really is the cursed.
Yeah, definitely. And Oh, we're back.
We are back. Demi has seemed to have resolved the issue.
Yeah, and again, he's really close to maxing out Infestation Pit, just finishing up as well, so Hive will be on the way, but Azure already working on his +3 upgrades. Ooh, he does catch the Bailings.
Yeah, does actually catch a decent number of them. The Hellions, you know, they're not gonna bother Demi for a while, but you know, they've already done their job, and this is an Apocalypse of Mutas coming down, and they are starting to do a lot of damage. +3 weapons was denied here, and even more of these SCVs are gonna go down. Yeah, 3-3 was just denied, and you were talking about that, like, that Demi does not have his Hive yet. He cannot get his 3-3, but this has bought him so much time. It takes a while for these armories to be rebuilt.
Yeah, denying or sniping those armories was such a huge play there by Demi, able to, you know, even though he was behind in upgrades, this is gonna be
even the odds. It was the equalizer.
Yeah, definitely.
And I feel like, you know, this is a completely different unit composition. This is a completely different tactic coming out from Azure. But it's kind of a similar story to Pillars of Gold. Demi just keeps Azure's economy so far down. Look at this. He is fearless with his Mutalisk, although he should take some precaution when there are 3 Thors around.
Yeah, this is... Oh god, but the Bailing run by, he kills the base.
The 4th base goes down.
Yeah, more SCVs fall as well, and the economy for Azure is in shambles. He has half the worker supply.
He's at half the worker supply. He is starting to mine out on his bases, losing that 4th base. That really does hurt.
Yeah, definitely. And the problem with Azure is that, like, he's relying so much on these Thors for anti-Mutalisk, but, like, they're so maneuverable that they keep rotating from one base to the other. It's difficult for Azure to keep up, and it looks like we may have reached the point where Azure has had enough, and he may just push across the map.
Exactly. I will say this about the Thors, even though they're nowhere near as mobile as the Mutalisks, they only need 1 volley on top of these Mutas, and they get taken right out. So Demi cannot be careless there with his Mutas. And he's gonna have to scrouge together a defense here against all of these mech units. Once again, Azure's army is looking unkillable, especially once they really get into they really get a foothold into their siege locations.
Yeah, and
sending the SCVs for repairs.
Yeah, and once again, we've been here before where we're getting into a base trade situation, but I don't know if Azure has enough at home to defend against all these Mutalisks, and I don't think he has any... he does have SCVs out on the map, so he could potentially build, like...
he could try to rebuild. Oh, no. Yeah, he could take a gas, but that's it. He's been using these SCVs to repair, and that's been eating into his minerals. And now look at that, he's starting to run out.
Yeah, like, all of his buildings are going to be going down.
This is a base trade in the truest sense of the word, and right now I gotta favor Demi. He's got more bases, he's got the Mutalisk out, he's just trying to take out all of these flying buildings from Azure. It's not looking too good for a Terra player.
Yeah, it kind of depends, because honestly, if Azure takes a gas and all the Thors defend it, I don't think Demi can kill it. Like obviously Demi's gonna want to try and dive in, but like Thor volleys are pretty good.
Oh, here's the thing: if Azure defends a gas, okay, there we have it. GG. And in a game that went down to the wire, to literally 0 supply there for Azure. Well, I mean, he had 103 supply, but what I meant was available supply. In the end, Demi's gonna take revenge for that last Grand Platypus Open, and will in fact claim his first ever ESL Open Cup Fueled by Dare.
Yeah, GG, well played. And I'm just looking at the supplies, like, honestly, they had pretty similar army supply there at the end, but at the same time, like, all the buildings are falling for Azure. Like, the only thing he could do is potentially make a gas, and then, like, the bases for Demi were just so spread out that it would be so difficult for Azure to take the win instead of, like, just, you know, being on the defensive. So, yeah, GG, well played.
Yeah, I was gonna say that could have really gone either way towards the end there. But when I guess when the moment really came down to it, you know, both players, they had to commit. And in the end, Demi just had a bit of a better whatchamacallit, a base trade army.
Yeah,
And
like
really,
again, like.
yeah, I was just gonna say, and I really like how Demi used it as well, because he knew 100% he could not fight Azure head on. So he just went around the army.
Yeah. Again, this turned out very similar to another game that they had earlier. And previously, it was against Warrior, right? Like we also had a base trade, didn't we, for game 2?
We had a little bit of a base trade, yeah, in game 2, but in the end, yeah, Oreo had to tap out once he realized, yeah, Azure was right up in my face.
yeah, and this time, Demi kind of had his number, and GG.
Well played. Congratulations to our finalists, and once again, it's Demi's first ever ESL Fueled by Dare Championship. It's Azure's first time in the ESL Fueled by Dare finals. And to remind everyone once more, after today, there are only going to be 5 more ESL Open Cup Fueled by Dares, at least for this season. We don't know if we may get a second season of this, but yeah, there's only going to be 5 more, and it's gonna be a tough fight. All of these players, they're gonna be looking to make their first championship or secure a lead or whatnot. They're gonna be bringing their all.
Yeah, it's definitely cool to see Azure make a deep run like this and make it all the way to the finals. And again, congratulations to Demi. Like 2 weeks in a row, he made it to the finals and he got knocked out by his opponent. This time, he finally takes that win. And yeah, hopefully we can see a little bit more of this. Like Demi, he's been making pretty deep runs consistently, and we'll see if that trend continues, or maybe we'll have a new champion. Of course, NXZ, he's back, and I would love to see him play in these as well. See how he shapes up now that he's more in form, especially after DreamHack. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see how these following weeks shape up. And as Yaku said, like these following weeks are going to be our last ones. Only 5 weeklies left.
It's really going to be intense these last final weeks. Although I want to point something out, like I scrolled up in chat and I was reminded this game started with two spires, 2 armories, and stim.
Yeah. This was an interesting game to say the least, but I loved it. It was great.
It was.
In the end, that stim didn't come into play.
But you know, it could have. It could have. Look at how that game ended up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If Demi had a few less mutas, or if Azure had a few more missile turrets and whatnot, we might have had their ultra late game. We might have seen a lot of a lot of barracks, a lot of marines.
It's definitely possible. But yeah, that was really well done, really well played there by both players. Like again, that was pretty close as well. That base trade game. It's just. Yeah, the Mutalisks, they just kept like outmaneuvering Azure, and even towards the end here, we do see Azure talking about the Mutalisks as well. Like, it was very difficult to deal with. Demi was buying a lot of time, dealing a lot of damage. If you recall, denying those upgrades as well was huge for Demi, and yeah, that was just really well played.
Indeed, it was. Once again, I think that's about wraps us up, doesn't it? We don't have a schedule graphic for Dare.
We do not. But Yaku, who are you to these people?
Well, before that, I will just say that we have SEA Duckling Open coming on Friday. We will be taking a little bit of a break on Thursdays, and obviously tomorrow is GSL, so stay tuned. Not on this channel, but watch that. Twitch.tv/Yakuzaku1, Twitter.com @EmphoraYakuzaku, !! Discord. You can join the Discord server where myself and basically every member of CranKy is there. In fact, no, every member of CranKy is there. And you can watch ESL with us. We have a tournament watching channel there. Might be would be nice to have some people talk about the game, talk about the games that are being played, and other than that, buy my shirts and also buy their iced coffee. It's good.
It is. And meanwhile, you can follow me at light_VIP on Twitch and Twitter. I do stream occasionally. You can follow me on the social medias for when we go live. But more importantly, follow the Twitch channel, CranKy Ducklings. You know, we're live every single week with the SEA Open Cup. We also run our own Southeast Asia/Oceania tournament, Grand Platypus Open, as well as a bunch of other tournaments. You know, I see Yoda Slim in the chat. You know, he often casts NA-based tournaments, as well as Latin American-based tournaments. We're live quite often here on this channel. So yeah, if you're a fan of StarCraft, give us a follow. And before we leave, we will be raiding another channel. Unfortunately, I was just checking who's live. Vivid is playing Valorant.
Yeah.
He's our go-to, but he's not playing StarCraft. God damn it, Vivid. We normally raid another StarCraft 2 streamer. So yeah, stay tuned and support the community.
We'll find someone for you. And with that, I think we are done. See you guys on Friday.
Ciao.